What's up, guys? Eli here, back for a new stuff video, all DVD, some Blu-ray. Yeah, let's get started. And I have this stack kind of sorted out by by studio, more or less. So we're gonna start off with Lionsgate and slash a24 stuff. So we'll do the Lionsgate first, starting with from 2008, Rambo, or as we tend to call it, Rambo 4. Now, I saw this in the theater. I saw a lot of these in the theater. This was still back when I was seeing a lot of movies in the theater. I really don't anymore. Now, I kind of liked Rambo 5, but I felt like it was a little bit disappointing. Rambo 4, I think, was much, much better. And so I got the two disc special edition. It's only the DVD, not Blu-ray or anything. I know people are into Blu-rays and now 4Ks, but I don't really give a shit. It's pretty nice for what it is. Yeah. I have not watched this version yet. I only saw it in the theater. So yeah, haven't seen this movie since seeing it in the theater. This is a nice, for like $5 used. This is a nice version. What to say about this movie? This is brutal, man. This is probably, I don't know, I liked it a lot. This is probably I have a soft spot for the first three Rambos. Especially the first one. This is probably easily as good as the third, or even maybe the second. Shockingly fucking brutal. For those that haven't seen it, this is by far and away the most brutal Rambo movie. The kill count is insane, and not only is there a high kill count, but the brutality of the kills. This is almost like an action movie for gorehounds. This is a gory, shockingly brutal movie. This is as brutal as every Rambo movie put together, and for that, pretty awesome, I gotta say. The story is pretty much these fucking what do you call them? Missionaries want to go over to, was it Vietnam, or I can't remember. They want to go over to an island kind of near where Rambo lives. He lives like on the other side. They want to hire him to take them there, and he's like, you don't want to go there. You don't belong there. Just fucking go back home. And they basically insist we're gonna go there either way. So he ends up taking them over there, and chaos ensues. Most people in this movie end up dying, and it's a good one. What do you guys think about Rambo? I call it Rambo 4. What do you guys think about Rambo 4? I think it's pretty damn cool. From 2008, Let Me In. This is the American remake of the Swedish movie Let the Right One In, which I am a big fan of. I have the book. Haven't read it yet. What a big surprise. I am a big fucking fan of this movie. I might prefer this to the original. And yes, I already own it, but I bought it for, first of all, the cool slipcover. Pull that off, you got the original, the regular version. And this also came with a comic book, which I had to get it for. Dark Horse, one of 4 comics. I don't know how you get the other 3. Maybe this is just, I think actually this is just a miniature version, because this was a comic run by Dark Horse. I think this is just a miniature version, so you might not be able to get all 4 in this mini version. You'd have to buy the full-size comics, which I probably will track them down. It's pretty cool. Dark Horse, kills it. One of the best comic labels. And it looks really, really good. I had wanted to read this back when it came out, but I just never did. So it's quality. It's cool stuff. I saw the shirt on the back, and I was like, oh, cool. I'd like to get that shirt. But since I think this is a reproduction, these shirts are long gone. But I saw that, I was like, cool, I'll take a Let Me In shirt, but long gone, not going to happen. What to say? How to compare it to... I was actually thinking about doing a video talking about remakes that I like, which certainly that's one of. I don't know, man. It's got a dark tone, a really, really dark tone. I really like what's her name, Chloe Grace Moretz. I haven't really followed what she's done recently, but her first handful of movies, I was like, this is awesome. It's like this little girl doing horror movies, which, how many little kids do that? Especially, I don't want to say especially little girls, but I just liked how, she did that. She did the Carrie remake. She played Hit Girl and Kick-Ass amazingly. So, I'm a fan of her. I don't know what she's done as an older, she's got to be an adult now. She's got to be in her 20s. But yeah, I haven't followed her lately. What do you guys know anything? Is she still doing horror movies, or did she eventually go down the route of becoming a normie type actor? But yeah, let me in, dude. It's got Richard Jenkins in it. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. If you have seen it, let me know what you think. From 2018, Hole in the Ground, another A24 film. Haven't watched it yet. Sorry, I know that's kind of lame, but these are just new stuff videos showing you what I picked up. These aren't reviews. So this is directed by, interestingly, directed by Lee Cronin, who directed the newest Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rise of Evil Dead, or Evil Dead Rises, something like Evil Dead Rise. I don't know, something like that. So very interesting to see what he did before that. I haven't seen. Well, it's not out yet. Of course, I haven't seen the new Evil Dead. Maybe by the time this video uploads, it actually might be out because I'm probably not going to upload this for a while after recording. So who knows? We'll see. I think it looks pretty damn good. I'm talking about the Evil Dead. Hole in the Ground, I've heard, is a pretty good movie. It's got decent ratings, decent reviews. But yeah, that new Evil Dead, man, I'm interested. And last A24 film for the day, we got The Green Knight. If you don't know much about it, it's based on the the Arthurian legend story, whatever you want to call it. It looks like a definitely a Lord of the Rings esque epic, which I'm a big fan of stuff like that. I like fantasy. Uh, yeah, really, really, really stoked to watch this because it's very much up my alley. Slipcase, nothing different underneath. Has anyone seen this? I've heard really good things. Again, it's right up my alley, so I think it's a win-win. I don't think there's any way I'll possibly not like it. Next, we're going to move on to RLJE films slash Neil Marshall films. I decided I wanted to do a Neil Marshall filmography ranking, and not because I'm a massive Neil Marshall fan. I find him an interesting director, but I think he's directed just as many duds as he has hits. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be an interesting filmography to rate or to rank, and I only had a couple of his movies, so I went out and bought the rest. Did I need to? I don't know. Probably not. But anyways, getting on with the movie. We got All the Creatures Were Stirring. This is a Christmas themed horror movie. I think it's an anthology. This came out in 2018. I've heard it's actually pretty good, pretty decent horror, holiday anthology. Pretty excited to watch it. I don't have a ton of, holiday-esque or, holiday-based horror movies in my collection, so heard it's decent. I'm sure it's worth a watch, and I got it pretty cheap, so we'll see. And fairly recent from 2022, and this actually just came out. I think this came out late 2022 because I just got it as a new release like a month ago. The Lair, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall can do some cool creature features. I just don't know if this is one. This isn't like an action horror. I watched it already. It's decent. I think the creature looks pretty cool if you want to get a better look. Decent creature design, nothing too original. Basically about a U.S. military squad in the Middle East. They accidentally stumble upon this lab where basically some experiment went wrong. Everyone's dead, but except for some of the creatures, it looks like scientists were doing experiments, kind of trying to create like a creature human hybrid. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cheaply made, and it's almost all too obvious. The action is okay. There's some fairly brutal kills, and it's, I guess, worth watching for that. I did not need to buy this, but again, I wanted to buy all the Neil Marshall stuff so I could rank them. You don't need to own a movie to rank it. I get it, but I don't know. I'm weird like that. From 2020, The Reckoning, another Neil Marshall movie. I already watched it. I thought it was all right. It's got pretty low. I think it's like a 4.5 or 4.7 on IMDb, so a little bit below average. I think it deserves at least a 5. So I mean, I guess it's not too far off. But I enjoyed it for the most part. I do have some complaints, but there's some pretty cool, some pretty cool like creature sequences. They're more like dream sequences, but still decent, some decent creature makeup and stuff like that. But it's basically about, takes place in the days of the witch trials in the U.S. You got this witch hunter guy who comes to judge this woman who's been accused of being a witch, and it's fairly mean spirited. She gets tortured and stuff because I'm sure it's nowhere near as mean spirited as what actually happened back in those fucking days. But I don't know. It's decent. It's not great, but I think it deserves maybe a little better than like a 4.7. I'd give it at least a 5, maybe even 5.5. From 2008, probably one of Neil Marshall's better movies. It's still very flawed and it's not great, but it's a fun movie. Doomsday. Um, this is like post-apocalyptic meets medieval. um, very, very much an action movie. This movie is almost all action, and it's a fun watch. I've seen this several times. I just had never owned it. You got what's her name? Rona Mitra, who's also in one of the what is it called? Those movies I've been watching lately and buying needlessly, the vampire werewolf movies. You know what I mean? My memory fucking sucks these days. But anyway, she did a pretty good job. This movie is a Scottish movie. I think Neil Marshall's Scottish. Uh, this movie very much reminds me of the video game series Borderlands. I don't know if you guys are any of you are gamers. If you are, have you played the Borderlands series? Not nearly as amazing as that video game series, but this very much reminds me of the Borderlands series. I think I don't 2008. I don't think the Borderlands games were even out yet, so probably Neil was probably taking inspiration from all the other great post-apocalyptic movies like Mad Max and who knows, Boy and His Dog, stuff like that. Decent, could have been better, but it's good for what it is. And we're sticking with Neil Marshall. This is going to be the last one. Neil Marshall movies slash Magnet Studios. Magnet puts out some pretty good stuff from time to time. From, what is this, 2009, we got Centurion, Michael Fassbender, and some other notable actors, Dominic West. Pretty decent. Very 300-esque. I think this probably came out around the same time. I think this came out a little bit after 300, but I'm sure Neil was trying to ride that 300, that 300 wave of success. And around that time, there were a lot of these I don't want to call them medieval movies, but let's just say medieval movies, like medieval action, because 300 was so successful. I don't think most of those movies were as good as 300. I mean, 300 was just a blast, and I love Frank Miller. Pretty decent. I mean, I like Michael Fassbender a lot. He's good. In my opinion, he's good at everything he's in. In this movie, he plays a centurion, or at least his dad was a centurion. I can't remember if he was, but he is a Roman soldier. The Romans are trying to track down this tribe of barbarians who have learned how to just go through and wipe out Roman armies, through guerrilla warfare and stuff. So they're trying to find this tribe to take them out, so they'll stop killing all the Roman soldiers. And it does show a little bit of the hypocrisy of war. It's like this tribe, they hate the Romans because of what the Romans have done to the tribe, and the Romans, just what they've done in general. It just kind of shows the hypocrisy of pretty much every war, but it still makes the Romans look like, for the most part, the good guys. There's a lot of action. This movie's 90% action, fairly brutal at times. Decent movie. Would I watch it again? I don't know, maybe once. It's definitely worth your time. It's worth one watch. It's not amazing. It's not terrible by any means. And the last one for the day through Magnet Studios, Tucker Dale versus Evil from 2010. Now this one is good. This is one of the better movies of the stack. It's not a Neil Marshall movie. probably why it's so good. This is an action, or not an action, this is a horror comedy, and it's a blast. The horror elements are great, the comedy is great. I can't remember the last time I've seen a comedy movie in general. This might be the last one that I ever saw. Just fantastic. You got Tucker and Dale. They're these two rednecks who keep accidentally killing people. So it kind of makes them look like they're serial killers, and people think that they are. It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it since 2010. They actually, I take that back. I don't think they actually kill anyone. People keep dying. I think there is a serial killer that's doing the killing, and Tucker and Dale are just these sweet dumb rednecks who are made to look like they're the ones doing the murders, but they aren't. I think that's actually a more accurate description, and it's just fantastic. I cannot believe they didn't make a sequel. It's been 13 years. I'm sure these dudes are still fairly young. I think they're probably young enough to. I think you could still very much pull off a sequel, and I think it should be done because this movie is. It's becoming kind of like a cult classic. So yeah, I'd really love to see a sequel or even multiple sequels. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Have you seen it? I think it's awesome. Everyone that I know that's seen it has liked it. So. Anyways, guys, that's it. I appreciate you watching as always. Have you seen any of these movies? What's your opinion? How about Neil Marshall? Are you a Neil Marshall fan or are you a detractor? Either way, I would understand. But anyways, as always, Louis says hello. He's off doing shit. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll talk soon. Fucking cheers.